I didn't even have the courage to sing at a party. I remember one time they asked me and I couldn't. I just froze there.
Hailing from Michoacán, Mexico, equestrian singer Alejandra Rojas started with humble beginnings. Every time she tried to pursue her career, a family tragedy would strike.
When I had lost all faith that he was going to show up, I get a call from the police, and it's just to let me know that he had been stabbed, and they were rushing him to the hospital, and they didn't know if he was going to make it, and he didn't make it. I hugged him, but it wasn't the kind of hug that I was expecting.
Despite all these setbacks, she was able to finally follow her dreams to become a singer with over 200,000 followers.
Like I said, if it's in your heart, it will happen. It's part of the universe. It just works that way.
So what did she do to make it through the tough times and become a ranchero singer? Keep on watching to see Alejandra Rojas on today's Impactful Latinos.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite. And I'm a little nervous, but I'm happy. I'm happy to be here.
Why are you nervous?
Well, I didn't get really a chance to get acquainted with the language, with speaking English, and so it's not the best. But I will try my best. You know.
That's great. Now, for those viewers who don't know anything about you, can you tell us who you are?
As of now, I'm a Michoacana singer. Cantante de música regional mexicana. But I've had to go through so much to be where I am right now. And I come from a very humble, poor family in Michoacán, Mexico, where I was born and raised until I was 14 years old. I come from a very small village in Michoacán. I was raised with my siblings, my parents, working in the fields. And that's all I knew until I was 14. And my mom decided to bring us to the States.
And how was that? Were your family together?
No. Unfortunately, my mom and dad split up when I was 10 years old. He moved to the United States, and I didn't see him. We didn't see him since he left, pretty much when I was 10 years old. And we stayed behind with my mom in Michoacán, and she pretty much finished raising us up. All 6 of us.
6 of you guys. And you are a twin.
I am a twin. I have a twin sister. Her name is Patricia.
And how was it coming to the United States? Can you tell us a little bit more? How was the transition?
It was shocking, really. I did not want to move to the United States. I was, like I said, I was raised in a very small village. All I knew was just a couple of friends, very close relatives, and I didn't know anything else besides my hometown. I don't want to leave my friends behind. The fields, I love working in the fields. I'm totally a raw country girl. And so that was my life, that was my world. It was so hard for me to leave it behind. There was one reason, though, the only reason that I wanted to come to the States. So when my mom proposed that idea to us, I was like, maybe I'll think about it. I wanted to come and see my dad, look for my dad. I knew he was in the United States, but I didn't know exactly where. I had a rough idea, but I didn't know where. I didn't even know what the United States looked like. I thought it was just a small town like the one that I was living in. So I decided to come along, and because I was about to stay with an aunt, I did not want to come. And my mom is like, it's up to you. But who knows when we're going to see each other again. So I decided to tag along, and I was like, well, this might be my chance to reunite with my dad again. And so for those reasons, that was my reason. That was the main reason why I decided to come.
And how did that go? Were you able to reunite with him?
Yes and no. It was a bit of a painful situation. It was a very painful situation, actually. When we come to the States, it had been about a year and a half. I was about to be 16 years old. And I start looking for my dad. I start calling people from the same hometown and relatives, and I finally get a hold of somebody that knew how to get my dad's phone number. It took me a while, but I finally
Reach the goal of
reached the goal of
contact.
getting a hold of my dad. So
How was that?
that was one of the best moments of my life. My dad and I we had a very special connection. Although there were problems with my mom, between my mom and him and I were very close. I don't know if his relationship was like that with the rest of my brothers and sisters, but with me it was very special. I loved him, and he was a very special part of my life. He still is. And so I was so happy because I was finally gonna see him again after 5 years. And so I remember the first time that I talked to him again, and I told him straight out, he didn't even ask anything else. I just told him, I just want you to know that I missed you and that I love you. And I want to see you again. And he says, I want to see you guys too. But I don't know how your mom is going to take it. And I said, forget my mom. She's already dealt with it. Or I'll deal with her. I just want to see you. He was somewhere in the LA area. We were living at the time in a very small town too in California, Watsonville. That's called Watsonville, close by the Bay Area. So it was like a 4-hour drive for him. We decided that he was going to go see us 2 weeks after I got a hold of him. I was able to talk to him. So we were, expecting him. We had arranged, for us to, he said, I need to get some money together so that I can pay for the trip. I lent this guy $1,000, and he's supposed to pay me next week. And as soon as he pays me the money, I'll buy the ticket and I'll go see you. And I said, okay. Well, that guy didn't pay him the money, but he still bought the ticket. And he was supposed to go on a Sunday. He called me in the day before, on Saturday, and he's like, I'll be arriving tomorrow, like towards the afternoon, like around 3. And I remember that we made food. We made like a small, party with my sisters and my brothers to celebrate their reunion. And it was all set. And on Sunday, finally, I woke up. That was going to be the best day of my life. I was so anxious to
I can imagine.
yeah. And he never shows up. And we were like, maybe he just, he didn't feel comfortable, or maybe he didn't mean it. And I was so heartbroken at one point, and I was like, so thinking that he didn't care, And then like in the evening, when I had lost all faith that he was going to show up, I get a call from the police, and it's just to let me know that he had been stabbed, and they were rushing him to the hospital, and they didn't know if he was going to make it. And he didn't make it. He didn't make it. So that same night, that same Sunday, we got in the car, all of my brothers and sisters, and my mom, and we headed out to LA to see what had happened. So when we arrived to the to where the place that he was killed, all I found was just a big stain of blood, and that was an image that I had so much trouble erasing from my mind. I had to recognize the body, and I barely did because he looked so different. So that's how the reunion ended, pretty much. I couldn't see him. I hugged him, but it wasn't the kind of hug that I was expecting.
What did you learn from that? If there's anything that is it to value life or the people that you love?
It's like, yeah, I know that there's a lot of people that are in my situation. In Mexico, it happens a lot. A lot of, I don't know why they do that, but unfortunately it happens, where they split up the parents, the family, and for some reason, it's like, you're not supposed to. When they split up, and you either choose to stay with the mom or the dad, and that's it. I think that's cruel to a point for a kid, for a child. Because I needed my dad. I needed both of my parents in my life. And if any mom is seeing this, and if you are going through a situation like this, don't ever stop your kids from seeing your even if you ended up in the bad of, the worst of terms, the kids, it's not our fault, and we have all the right to continue to see our parents, both of our parents. It doesn't matter what problems you have with as a couple.
You had another tragedy, right?
Yes. It's like every time that I contemplated, starting something, or something would happen, something negative would happen to me, that I had to put those plans behind. After my dad was killed, I started thinking about singing. And I remember telling my older sister, Marisela, I would love to sing. And I know I have a voice for singing. I don't know how my mom is going to take it. And I don't know if people would like my singing, but I think they will, because I don't know. I just have that feeling. And she's like, go for it. My sister she was so sweet. She's like, go for it. Just do it. But I was so afraid to sing. I didn't even have the courage to sing at a party. I remember one time they asked me, and I couldn't. I just froze there. And I was like, I told you, I'm too afraid to do this. And she's like, no, you're not. It's probably gonna take you a little longer, but you can do this if you really like it. She heard me sing a couple of times, and she's like, you have it. But she was so sweet, so I just took it as a compliment. And I remember that I was finally looking for somebody to, start some vocal classes and getting to know people. And I told her, you know what, I'm finally going to try it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if I can, And she was so happy. She's like, yeah, I know you. I hear it when you sing to me, and I know that you can do this, and I know that it's you just have to find the people who can help you. And so I started looking, but then around that time, she was diagnosed with cancer, and she was like my number one fan, and she was my inspiration, and she was like a mother to me, really. She fought it for a couple of years. I was with her all the time. She lost the battle. She ended up dying 3 years after. And she had a boy and she had a little girl. And she said, I know that you want to sing and I know that you want to pursue a career, but can you please do that after my kids are grown, because I want them to stay with you and I want you to raise them for me. And I couldn't say no. So I had to wait another 10 years until they were older enough. Yeah.
And you had your own child at that time?
At that time, yes. I had my own child too.
And what happened after those 10 years? What made
After those 10 years, it was now or never kind of deal.
what did you do?
It was funny because now it was my niece, the one I told, you know what, I think I'm going to try again. And she's like, go for it, Tia. The same thing, just like the mom, but it was the daughter this time. And she's the one who literally took me, she drove me to those auditions for me to sing for the first time in front of 3 judges. She's like, you're going to do it. I'm going to take you and you're going to do it. So I was so afraid.
How did that go?
It went very well.
Really?
Very, very well. I had never, ever sang in front of anybody besides my sister.
How was that feeling?
I was shaking. I just did it, honestly, I just did it to get it out of my system. I did not want to die without, knowing how it felt to sing in front of people. That was my lifetime dream. And for different reasons, I could never done it. And I was 30 years old at the time. I was like, this the time, or it's just not gonna happen. So my sister's, my niece is like, you're gonna go and you're gonna do it and you're gonna get it out of your system and you're gonna feel better. And so I did. And I sang that song and they just looked at me and they said, okay, we'll call you. To me, that was it. I was like, well, I experienced it. I thought I was gonna pass out. I didn't, so that's good. And so I went home like nothing happened, but I still, like, that didn't feel that bad. I liked that. I liked the experience. And I kept on singing and I kept on practicing, and then a month after I get a call and they say, you moved on to the next
round.
To the next round. You made it to the next round. And I was like, really? Then I must have some kind of potential, So that started kind of like giving me
a boost and like okay.
Yeah, because to me it was all gone. I honestly, I just did it just to get it out of my system. I did not think that it was going to go anywhere.
And it did. It went
and
somewhere.
It did. And to me, it's like, it's not meant to be. Because every time I tried it, something happened, So it's just, but then just pure curiosity, I kept on going. And I went to LA for the second round. And I made it to the next round. And it was my niece now that was with me. Instead of my sister, but it was just special for me.
But maybe your sister was behind it.
Maybe she was, through her daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after that, your career started? Is that what happened?
Uh-huh. After that, I couldn't waste any time because I didn't have no time to waste. So
you needed to catch up?
I needed to catch up, and I just started singing. A lot of people started calling me because that talent show was televised nationally. So I got a lot of exposure. And I remember the judges telling me, you still need to work on your vocals a lot, but you have a very strong voice and you have a very strong presence, and that is going to help you a lot. So don't
just work on it.
Work on it. You have a lot of potential. And I did.
You worked on it?
I did work on it. I didn't know I thought it was going to pay, but I never, ever imagined that it was going to get to the point that it is right now.
For those who are getting to know you, they see you dressed up. Yeah. Okay. Is there a reason for the way you're dressed?
Yes.
Yes? Because you say you sing,
Yes,
and then so it's original Mexican type of music.
Uh-huh.
But you're very unique.
It's different.
Because
it's very different.
You also sing on top of a horse.
Correct. I've always loved singing, ever since I live in Michoacán, since I was a little girl. And I love horses too. I never thought I could sing in public because I was so afraid. I was so shy. And I don't come from a family that has a name in the industry, nobody in my family sings or is a musician even. Nobody has nothing to do with music, so I'm the first one in my family. And I just love ranchero music. It's like my passion. Always have. I grew up listening to that type of music, and it was funny because I must have been 7 or 8 years old, and I would listen to the music that my mom used to listen to, which was like very sentimental, very not kid
No.
like, you know.
Yes.
And so that stayed. Ever since I remember, I wanted to be a singer. Never thought I was going to be, though. We were poor. We didn't have any of the resources. I never even
Did
think
you,
of, you know.
now, how did you go from singing and then deciding to do it with horses and then like an equestrian show? Why?
Well, somebody had approved on the singing already. I had already proven to myself and to my family and to a lot of people that I could sing. Like I said, that image of that woman on a horse never disappeared from my mind. I always had it. I love horses. I always have. And
They're beautiful.
they are beautiful, and they're special too. And so every time I saw a horse, or every time I, you know, that idea would run through my head. I was a little scared to do it, obviously. It's not an easy task. It's not easy. And I kept on singing. I recorded my first album, my second album. But the idea of the horses never kind of like, it was always there, you know. Nobody was doing it. And I was like, there's a reason why nobody does it. It has to be hard. So I got a little bit of confidence when I recorded my second album. My social media started growing. My fan base started growing. Everything was, you know, headed to the right direction. At that time, I've only recorded ranchero music, very raw, old style ranchero. And one day I'm thinking, well, that goes perfectly with the horses. And there's nobody doing it. And let me try this. It can't be that hard, you know. So one day we go to this ranch. They invited us to a party at a ranch, and they had horses there. And the guy says, "You want to ride a horse?" And I said, "I would love to ride a horse. I'm a little afraid, but you know." He explained to me, because I have forgotten. I had
Some experience.
some in Michoacán, but not too much. So I get on the horse, and I felt so comfortable. And I started singing a song, and they're like, "That's totally you." I mean, that's the ayeres. I remember they telling me that. That's where it all started.
And was it hard?
It was not hard.
No, for you?
It was not hard for me. I had a connection with the horses the first time. It was crazy. It was like it was meant to be. I just had a hunch, and it was you know.
And do you do a lot of training with the horses?
I do. It's especially for the events that we do now. I train at least 4 or 5 times a week with my horses. They're called Alta Escuela, so they have a lot of, they dance, they do, they're beautiful. They're show horses. And so it is hard to sing on top of a horse if you don't have the experience, and that's why there's a lot of training involved. But once you master it, it's beautiful. It's
I've seen some of your videos. It's gorgeous.
yeah. it's to me, it's like, I still can't believe that I'm doing something that I envisioned when I was so young. Sometimes when you put something in your, when something is in your heart and in your mind, and if you focus, God gives you the you know, everything falls in place.
After not falling in place for such a long time.
Correct.
Because you had that goal or that wish.
That vision.
That vision.
That vision. And I never lost that. Even if I went through so much in my life, and there were many times that I never thought that I could do it or that I had a chance to do it, it was still there waiting for me. You just have to remain firm and focused and never stop believing in yourself. Never stop believing in yourself and in your purpose. If you have a dream, like I said, if it's in your heart, it will happen. The strangest, you don't even know how it's going to come to you, but it will come to you. It's part of the universe. It just works that way. Maybe later than sooner, like in my case, but it will come to you. Just don't lose faith and don't lose focus.
But was there a person you looked up to, a female in particular,
Oh,
that
yes.
made you want to sing? I mean, there's several, but
There's many. There's one image that stuck to my head ever since the first time I saw this. There was a family in Mexico, la familia Aguilar, el señor Antonio Aguilar, su esposa Flor Silvestre. And I remember we went to one of their shows, equestrian shows, and I just fell in love when I saw that woman on top of that horse singing a song. I just imagined myself, I don't know why, I just imagined myself doing that one day. I must have been like 8 years old. It was just so impressive. I was so amazed.
Thank you for that, Alejandra. I think a lot of viewers who will be watching will get a lot of inspiration from that. So what's new for you? What's more for you?
I'm so thankful to be here right now talking to you about what's going on. I never thought in my life that I was going to accomplish what I've accomplished, with the help of many people, of course. But I am proud to say this. I never ever imagined in my village in Michoacán, working in the fields, that one day I was going to be working in a collab with one of the most recognized mariachi band in the world.
Who is that?
Mariachi Internacional Sol de México, el señor José Hernández, a quien le envío un saludo. Never ever in my wildest dreams I imagined that I would be living such an experience. We're working on the beautiful song. He's producing it. And it's something that I still can't believe it's happening in my life. This is going to be one of the first original songs that I record. Mariachi, my first mariachi song. I mostly record with banda. And so it's like beyond what I imagined that was going to happen. I also have another collab, very important collab, with a norteño band. We're working on a beautiful song for the first time en la versión banda. El grupo Palomo, a quienes también les mando un saludo cordial. And we're preparing the tour for 2022 with my own band from Michoacán. That was another dream come true for me. I guess for everybody that sings regional mexicano, having your own group, your own band accompany you, it's a big step, a big accomplishment. And it took me many years, but finally this year we're in the process of bringing them over from Michoacán and becoming my own band.
Do you have a tour dates already prepared for next year, or?
We do. I don't have them on hand, but we do. It's been after the pandemic, which we all, the world was pretty much paralyzed for everybody. I can say that this has been one of the best moments in my career and in my life, really, because making a dream come true, it's a big deal. And to me, that's what I feel that's happening. Everything that I dreamed when I was a little girl, it's actually happening. If you have a goal in mind, don't let anything, nothing, nobody stop you.
I was just going to say that.
Nobody.
For the youth, or that little one girl that might go to your show and see you on top of that horse and think to themselves, I want to be that. I want to be a woman who is on top of a horse and sings, just as you were when you saw Miss Flor Silvestre. What would you say to that young girl, or even just Latinos in general?
Don't ever stop dreaming. Follow your dreams. Fight for them. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Alejandra.
Gracias.